There's more music released in a single day today than there was in the entire year of 1989 combined. And I love sharing that fact because to me, that's a celebration of a generation in a moment in time that genuinely celebrates creativity. Whether it's stand-up or acting or writing or music or the visual arts, there is more talent and passion out there today than ever. And in that landscape, what decides what voices get heard? Talent? Hard work? Intangible quality? No, it's how many followers you have on Instagram. I want to delete my Instagram. You probably want to delete your Instagram. Maya Hawke wants to delete her Instagram. But I can't, you can't, she can't.
And I've talked to so many smart directors who tell me that they get I'm talking to them about how I'm going to delete my Instagram, and they're like, just so you know, when I'm casting a movie with some producers, they hand me a sheet with the amount of collective followers I have to get of the cast that I cast.
That's crazy, right? It's a story we hear all the time in the world of the arts. Sam Tallent is a very accomplished comedian, and he tells this story about a club refusing to book him because he had under 100,000 followers.
So if you could follow me on Instagram, @SamTallent, so then I can not work that club once I've achieved that goal.
Every local artist you know has a story about how they got passed over for somebody dramatically less talented than them just because they had fewer Instagram followers. Addison Rae of Jimmy Fallon fame has this story about how she went to a music label and she didn't have any songs.
I made this binder. I had a binder, and usually when you go into a label meeting, they're like expecting you to show them music.
You didn't play any music?
No music. I had colors printed out and I had words printed out.
Oh no.
But she still got signed because of her binder of colors. Oh, and her millions of TikTok followers. I mean, I do stand-up, and one time I told a booker that I had less than 10,000 followers on Instagram, and they said it was fine, but then they took me into the green room and they shot me in the back of the head. Like Lenny from Of Mice and Men. And it's not just creatives. Everyone is supposed to be an influencer now. Are you posting on LinkedIn? How's your podcast going? Are you running your blog? How's your blog going? Remember, you're not a person, you're a public-facing brand. I read an interesting tweet the other day from a father whose kid was in like a youth travel soccer team, and how these clubs are mandating that these like 12-year-olds have Instagram accounts that post reels and build a following and a brand. What? Everyone's job is Instagram now. Everyone is supposed to be an influencer, and it's exhausting. And yeah, in the world of children's youth soccer, it's still mostly going to come down to who kicks the ball good. But in the arts and entertainment, the forms themselves are beginning to change to appeal to the online format. Today we're talking about how Instagram ruined being an artist, and how if you agree with that fact, I'm making a genuine plea for you to be using it anyway. I've been getting a lot of TikToks from realtors lately. I'm not looking to buy a house, nor do I have any money, nor do I live in Tampa Bay. But here's the thing, I bet you've seen some of these too. There's a lady who does deadpan jokes outside of houses. There's a guy who runs through homes as quickly as possible. There are TikTok realtors teaching other realtors how to be TikTokers. The Minnesota Vikings, I think, literally used one of them for their schedule reveal this year, and people loved it. And many of them are funny or engaging videos, but every time I see one with hundreds of thousands of views or millions of views, it always makes me think of that Kanye West quote about Lady Gaga becoming the creative director for Polaroid.
I like some of the Gaga songs. What the f does she know about cameras?
What does your ability to make funny videos and be an online influencer have to do with selling a house? And it turns out a lot. Because if you can make a funny reel that has 5 million views on it, even if only a small subset of those are in Tampa Bay, you only need one person in that city to see it to sell the house. It's an advertisement. Fundamentally, this...
I used to take baths with my mom until I was 17. The only thing stopping you from buying this home is your massive amount of student loan debt.
And this are the same thing. They exist to get an audience's eyes on a product that they're trying to sell, a house. It's a defined product. But if you're a singer, for example, yeah, you're selling your music, sure, but you're also selling yourself. You are a brand. The music and you are both the product. Whether that's trying to start a dance for your new song, or whether that's doing a get ready with me, you know? Lots of artists have spoken about the pressure that labels put on them to produce content online that's very relatable.
I think there's this pressure to be this funny, zany, performative person online. And I think we need more visionary artists. And it's not that we don't have them, it's the way that record labels are structuring campaigns and what they expect from younger artists.
And I agree. Everyone should be focused completely on the art itself, on the music, on the visuals, on the comedy, on the craft, 100%. Provided they're doing it just for themselves. Because you know why producers want you to be an influencer? Because being an influencer works. You know what the worst thing in the world is out of all of the things? It's not crime, it's not a breakup, it's a bad stand-up comedy show. I promise you. I know because I've subjected thousands of people to them over the last 4 years. It's uniquely bad because everyone in the room knows it's going bad. Because every 10 seconds, the guy pauses like, and there's no laughter. There's immediate feedback. It's the worst thing in the world. And you know what the #1 predictor of a good stand-up comedy show is? The audience. But Paul, there's no such thing as a bad audience or a bad show. Only bad comedians. Really? What about an audience that isn't there? One of the things that frequently happens in low-level stand-up comedy is you are going to be performing at places filled with people who thought they were about to have a nice evening with their friends or family. People at restaurants or coffee shops or bars. Places where people see 15 pasty white guys walking in with a microphone and a speaker over their shoulder, and they leave. It is really hard to get people to stand-up comedy shows. A lot of the places you perform have a captive audience. I can't tell you the amount of times I've done stand-up comedy shows where there are like 3 people in the audience, and I'm like, I'm gonna make $40 off of the show. I'll split the $40 between the 3 of you for us to not have to do this. And then you do it anyway. And guess what? The show is bad. It's bad. If you're a performer, you've probably performed for less than 10 people before too. And you know what shows always have people at them? Shows with performers who have lots of followers on Instagram, because that's where the audience is. I use the example of stand-up because I think it's the most obvious form of media for showcasing how important the audience is, but I think it applies to everything. All of the people who complain about people with more followers than them getting booked, like I do, I complain, are also the people who complain when the shows that they're at don't do well, when there aren't audience members there. If you were putting together a show and you were picking between a C+ talent with 1 million followers or an A+ talent with 0 followers, which one would you pick? Which one would produce the better show? I'm not saying that's how it should be, but I want to dispel this idea that it's just like, oh, those greedy producers. It's like the arts are super, super competitive, not just between artists, but for attention as a whole. That's the thing. Live shows and stand-up comedy and the visual arts and movies are all competing not just with each other, but with your phones. A reel of your music or trying to get people to your stand-up comedy show or trying to get people to go see your movie is competing against realtors and AI slop and sports highlights and Reddit advice form fiction. Being a professional artist is a zero-sum game. There are so many talented people out there, and there are only so many opportunities. As of the time of me writing this video, in the US, there are 195 films that have had theatrical releases that grossed over $1 million at the box office this year. 195. Now, some of those are re-releases, and some of those are things that I don't understand. For example, number 195. What is Cat Video Fest 2025? I don't know. But 195 movies have made over $1 million at the box office. I think that's enough to call it a financial success. 195. Which means, in the US this year, barring the craziest, insane outlier year ever, more people in the US will be struck by lightning than will be the director of a financially successful film, or will star in a financially successful film. It is so insanely competitive. And it's not because there aren't 196 talented directors in the world. And because being online and having a following translates to success, to butts and seats, to opportunities, lots of artists aren't spending time doing what they originally wanted to do and are instead spending all of their time trying to become influencers. I saw a tweet the other day and it was like, this is so embarrassing for her. And it was a bunch of clips of Lady Gaga trying to promote the Dead Dance, a TikTok dance for her new single.
Do the dead dance.
And I know what you're thinking. Lady Gaga, the one from that jazz duet album with Tony Bennett? Even she has to stoop down to doing TikTok dances? This is beneath her. And 20,000 people agree. Now, on reflection and looking back at these tweets, I think it may be part of a more protracted battle between Beyonce and Lady Gaga fans that I'm not informed on, but I think the point stands regardless. Whether it's true or not, it does feel like a lot of music is now shifting away from just trying to be listened to towards trying to go viral on TikTok or Instagram. Sometimes I listen to new pop music and I'm like, that's a TikTok lyric. You wrote that to try and go viral on TikTok. Netflix now writes its stuff to be half listened to while you're looking at your phone instead of directly watched. I've already made a video about how all of stand-up is now wrapped around in crowd work because of the influence of TikTok and Instagram Reels. And when I see those reels of the visual arts of like a bucket of paint swinging above a canvas, I think to myself, that exists more for the reel than it does the actual piece that's made. The arts themselves are changing around what is going to appeal on the internet. Because while a realtor is running through a house to show you a home, there's still a separation between product and advertisement. But in entertainment, product and advertisement are the same thing. There's a quote I've become obsessed with recently. The Instagram generation experiences the present moment as an anticipated memory. And I remember one time being on stage and I was doing some crowd work and it was crushing. It was doing really well. And I remember thinking to myself in that moment, this is going to do great on Instagram. And suddenly I'm more influencer than comedian. Act 2. Not me, I'll be different. All right, I want to tell you guys about my favorite creator on the internet. I love this guy. I love this guy so much. His name is TimTMmusic, and this is what his song sounds like.
Who's buying the drink, she said? Who's out of their head? It's been a full week in red.
I love this guy. He's been promoting this song for a year, and there are so many comments that are like really nice and are like, hey, I see the vision. Maybe just try making the vocals in key. Just try making the vocals in key. And every time he just responds, he's like, it's not for everyone. He's never mad about it, doesn't take any feedback, he's not going to change it. Not for everybody. I love this guy. He's been promoting this song for like a year. He's never mad, he never takes feedback, doesn't seem bothered by it at all. He loves what he makes. It's not for everybody. I see that as a complete creative victory. He's just expressing himself. I love it. I love this guy, I keep up with him, and he's getting better. Except for his vocals, which he doesn't seem interested in changing. And he seems fine with that. You, as an artist or creator, are not beholden to the audience at all. But the audience also isn't beholden to you. If you're trying to break in or be somebody, then you're going to have to negotiate with yourself where you want to fall on the spectrum of how much you want to appeal just to a general audience and how much you want to appeal to just yourself. TimTMmusic is appealing to just himself. Will he find an audience without putting his vocals in key? Who knows? But he seems happy. But I think if you do want to appeal to a general audience in 2025, I think not accepting that the audience is online is straight up denial. I'm not happy about it either, but it is. Everyone is still treating the internet like it's this weird niche thing, and we make fun of people for being terminally online, but I think most people are. I mean, go check your grandparents' screen time. Even politicians, a group that's famously out of touch, has begun to realize that new media is how to communicate. Mamdani, politics aside, won the mayoral election primarily because of his ability to communicate through short-form video, which is what everyone consumes. JD Vance is on Twitter all of the time. Lionsgate and movie studios are now paying TikTok editors to make promos for their films. I think we're all kind of in denial about what our culture actually is. There's a lag. Earlier this year, I was on television in Greenville, South Carolina to promote a comedy show headlined by my very funny friend, Mackenzie Manette. It was very cool. I put it on my Instagram story, I put it on Facebook. I made sure to bring up all week how tired I was because I had to get up super early the other day to go be on TV. People asked me about it. It was very exciting, very cool. I felt very proud of it. And here's the thing, not one person came to the show because of that interview on TV. I know, because I talked about it on stage and nobody knew that we'd been on TV. But people did come because of a Facebook ad. which was embarrassing at the time, but it worked. There's a huge gap between prestige and what actually works. And while a guess which one of us is the drummer or a confessional might seem lame, it gets you in front of people. I think people forget what a huge percentage of the stuff that they see from celebrities and artists that they like are actually advertisements. It's just that you used to get to act like it wasn't promo. You go on Colbert and you wear a nice dress or a nice suit and you act like you're just stopping in and you share a funny anecdote. It's like, we're buddies. You go on Chicken Shop Date or you play with a puppy and answer questions about the things that people look up the most about you. All of those are promo, but they're kind of like grandfathered in. During the Superman rollout, when they were doing all those TikToks and it's like, this looks like a fun place to work, they didn't decide to do that. There was some marketing person who was like, hey, let's be fun. It just drives me nuts how some of those are like cool and some of them aren't cool. I saw similar posts about like when PTA and Leo were on the Kelsey Brothers podcast promoting one battle after another, and someone was like, this is beneath them. Why? It's where the audience is. That's where the audience is. And you know why? You know why they're so weird about it? Celebrities and big brands and the people that deify these people? You know why, after 100 years of visibility being tied to prestige, that now the most prestigious thing that you can do is be private, disappear for years at a time? It's because now they're playing on the same even playing field that you and I get to. Act 3. You, me, MasterCard, Lady Gaga, Travis Kelce, realtors in Tampa Bay, and Stephen Colbert are all fighting for the same thing: attention. Everyone is. Distribution used to be the most expensive part of the process. 30 years ago, if you were a comedian and one of the 6 late-night producers didn't like you, it was impossible. You couldn't make it. You couldn't get in front of people. But today, in 2025, you, me, and Jimmy Fallon's late-night show are all posting from the same portal. There's no more middleman. There are thousands of people who make a living today off of the art that they love because of the internet. People in big towns and small towns, and hot people and not hot people, smart people, dumb people, the talented and the not as talented. Do you know how much money big businesses pay to consultants and social media managers to try and replicate the authenticity that you can't help but possess? I so often have to look in the mirror and be like, am I really complaining about the fact that I can make anything at any time and share it for free? That you guys can tell me whether you like it or not instead of a gatekeeper? If 1% of the US population likes what you do, that's 3.4 million people. If 0.1% like what you do, that's 340,000 people. TimTMmusic has a song that's been listened to 52,000 times. The future is now. Whether it's starting a podcast or doing sketches or doing confessionals or behind the scenes or tutorials, I think there are a lot of options out there to produce quote unquote content that doesn't feel like selling out. I hope. I've seen so many great sketches from people trying to promote their stand-up, and I've discovered so much great music from people just playing piano in their room. One of my favorite accounts, Committee of Affairs, leveraged his audience to getting a Kickstarter that funded his short film. Chris Stuckman got to make a movie. Joji, Bo Burnham, Rachel Sennott all started online. I mean, there are people out there now who love Addison Rae's music. I haven't listened to Diet Pepsi, I don't know. You have to be online, yes, but also you get to be. That's an important distinction. But, you can get lost in the sauce. I started doing sketches to promote my stand-up. Some of them did very well. If you like Childish Gambino, Tyler the Creator, and Chappell Roan, you might like this. Baby. Some of them did not as well.
Miss, excuse me, miss.
Hi.
Hi, what are you listening to?
The We Choose to Go to the Moon speech by JFK.
Thank you so much.
In this decade and do the other thing, not because they are easy.
And doing those sketches got me into doing these essays, and now I don't do as much stand-up. I know lots of people who claim to be musicians, but if you followed them around for 24 hours, you'd think their job was phone. I'm a comedian, but my job is computer. If you focus entirely on appealing to an audience, you can genuinely get lost in the sauce. We can tease TimTMmusic for how he doesn't cater to the audience, how he doesn't take feedback, but if you go to the other side, then you end up getting the people who make AI slop and do lazy crowd work and make those stupid videos of paint going over canvases. I hate those. Henry Ford once said if I'd asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. And the moral of that story is that people are stupid. I don't know. I don't think there's an easy solution. I think you have to negotiate with yourself. But I keep thinking about those parents who are being pushed into creating accounts for their 12-year-old youth soccer player children. It feels like vanity, it feels narcissistic, but it's not. The videos and followings that they build can help their kids get in front of coaches and academies and good colleges. If you want your kid to go to a good college and get a good education for free, then if an Instagram account increases the odds of that happening by 5% or 10%, would you do it? Maybe you think it's not worth it. But what if all of their friends' parents start accounts and their competitors? And now if you don't make a 13-year-old a soccer Instagram account and everyone else is doing it, are you no longer just not taking advantage of an opportunity, but doing your child a disservice? I don't know. All I know is that it feels like a race to the top, or the middle, or the bottom, or somewhere. It's an arms race. I kept wrestling with whether it was worthwhile to make this video, whether people would find it relatable as non-artists or whatever, but I'm realizing in the ultra-competitive 21st century, I think lots of people are grappling with the same things. Should you participate in a system that you despise that will leave you behind if you don't? Like all of us should be on our phones all day, every day, because we're all one viral video away, one magical sequence of words or notes or one drawing from completely changing our lives. We should be nonstop sifting through the dirt that is the humiliation ritual of posting online just for the chance of gold. And I know, because it feels like, okay, maybe this isn't worth it. I don't want to compromise. I don't want to engage. I don't want to be a part of this. 100%, I get it. But if you're the type of person who feels like that, then I think you're probably the type of person who should be doing it. Act 4. A couple of years ago, I did the worst comedy show of my entire life. It was at a biker bar in South Carolina. It had a Confederate flag on the roof. I spoke at people for 15 minutes. I drove 90 minutes there. I had to drive 90 minutes back. It was terrible. And as I was driving home, I thought to myself, I was like, oh, that was terrible. Why did I do that? And I realized the point was to get this booker to like me, so that they'd give me a longer set, so that I could get better, so that I could perform in front of this group of people, who would then give me an opportunity to feature, which would give me an opportunity to headline, which would give me an opportunity to tour. Every step of the journey was about getting to do more stand-up. The point of stand-up is to get to do more stand-up. And in 2025, the best way to do more stand-up, or sell a house, or be a soccer player or a musician, is to be online, to meet the people where they are. When the three-point line was added to the NBA, people complained a lot. It fundamentally changed the sport, and in the last 10 years has changed the sport dramatically. Some of it positive, some of it negative. But regardless of if you like it or not, it's there. And the players who are philosophically opposed to it, who refuse to learn an outside shot, they're not in the league anymore. Those types of players don't get drafted anymore. And what I'm realizing is the people who are most scandalized by the changes that the internet has caused to art are the creators and artists who treat their work the most sacredly, who have the most reverence for the form. There's an entire generation of creators who decided that the three-point line doesn't line up with how they dreamed of playing basketball, so they're being lapped by people who never dreamed about playing basketball at all. If you were the type of person who was concerned with any of this, if you were concerned about how the internet and short-form video has impacted the things that you love, then I think you have a borderline moral imperative to be making stuff anyway. The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. Plato. Yes, you're 100% welcome to not participate. If you love stand-up and you think what Instagram Reels and TikTok has done to the form is bad, and you think that crowd work has ruined it, and that's not what real stand-up is, that is completely fine. You don't have to participate. But the world's gonna keep going. I think what's happening right now is that a lot of people with deep reverence for their art are allowing people who don't have that reverence to take the reins and change what the actual things you love are. The longer you wait, the more people who aren't sacred about the form get to guide the medium into whatever direction they want. The arts aren't static. What people like isn't static. How can you complain if you refuse to go in the arena? Oh, there's so many TikTok comedians now. There's so many TikTok bands now. Yeah, there are. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Give them an alternative. Every time you see someone online that you think is a hack but is more successful than you, you have to think to yourself, are they better than I am, or is their messaging just better? I guess the point I'm trying to make is that it doesn't matter whether Instagram ruined being an artist. It doesn't matter whether this is the best time to be an artist or the worst time to be an artist. If you want to make stuff, you're going to make stuff, you know? If a river changes course, does a beaver stop building dams? No. Not because it doesn't wish that the river had stayed the same, but because it's a beaver. That's what it does. You know, if you play a running water sound effect, a beaver will build a dam indoors or anywhere. That could be you. The end. If you feel at all inspired to post or share your work because of this video, but you don't know exactly what to post, I will give you an excuse. I'm running a competition. Whoever produces my favorite cover of Who's Buying the Drink, She Said, the hit song by TimTMmusic, and by favorite, I mean something that captures the spirit most accurately, I will be rewarding a grand prize of $15, directly Venmo'd from me to you. Yes, it's true. Do like a hashtag, maybe Paul Platt challenge, or send it to me. I don't know. Could be fun. Anyways, doesn't matter. Love you guys. Thanks to my Patreons: John Howard, Parker Burgett, JP King, August Kitten, Anders Hauer, Mel, Cody Constantine, Santi, Nathan Hawk, Julian Langiotti, Chelsea Hawk, Toral Azzolini, Stephanie, Piano, John Wallace Clark, Joanne Luna, Joel Crooks, Logan Robinson, Ariel Jimenez, Ellen W., Justin Bassett Green, Chiro Yakubovich, Peter Hayward, Justin Mangus, Matthew Kontman.